What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's doing good. I thought I'd hop on here real quick and maybe get a little personal, maybe share a little bit more about myself with you guys because, we all know that a 10-minute video of me telling a story, you're just not going to really know who the fuck I am. I mean, anything that you think I might be about is just you forming an opinion. So, I thought I'd get on here and talk with you guys for a minute and explain to you a little bit more why I'm on YouTube and sharing my story and share a little bit more about my background so that you guys can get to know me a little bit better. So let's get into that real quick. So I grew up, in Northern California in a town called Vacaville, and it's in the area where Vallejo is. I'm sure if you guys heard of E40 or whatnot, I'm from that area, 707 area, and I grew up over there, between there and Hawaii. When I got in too much trouble in Vacaville, I got sent to Hawaii as a kid. So between these two places is where I grew up, and you know, and that's where my childhood was. But as a kid, I was pretty much a good kid. From what my mom tells me, I was always coming home and surprising her with flowers, behind my back and shit, and just always being a good, loving kid with her. And she says I basically changed at the age of 12. So what my mom doesn't know though is that, behind her back, I ended up going through some abuse, you know what I'm saying? And so, I wasn't understanding what happened, during that time, and I didn't know how to deal with it, and I didn't talk to my mom and my dad about anything. So, it was just things that were going behind the scenes that, I had to deal with on my own. So as a young child, I didn't really talk with anybody about things that I was going through. And you know, as I got older, other things happened in my life that really just fucked me up and put me on this wrong path that I went on. And it's just, I'm not trying to sound too cliche, what I'm saying, and come out here like, oh, my whole life was fucked up, so that's why I got in trouble. And I'm not trying to do all that, you know what I mean? But hopefully by sharing a little bit of background of that, then maybe people will see why they're acting a certain way or why they're, going through what they're going through. So I went through this when I was a young kid, and then, as I got older, shit got worse. The dad that I lived with my whole life, I found out later when I was 13 years old that he wasn't my dad, and so I was like, who the fuck's my real dad? And stuff like that fucks you up as a youngster. And then around that time, my little sister, she caught cancer, and so she had a long fight with cancer, and then eventually, she passed away from that as a kid. So, things like that happened in my life. I never dealt with, I never shared with anybody. And I think, one second. I think for a long time, I held a lot of that shit in, and it turned into anger and alcohol abuse and just violence in my life. And I think that a lot of that shit, you know, ruined my life. And but a combination of that and alcohol is what really, fucked my life up. So I went through a lot of juvenile halls and CYA and then prison, as you guys already know. And eventually we'll catch up and go through all that, how I got there. Oh, fuck it, I'll just speak on shit right now. Yeah, so when I was young, you know, going through all that bullshit, I just didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know what to fuck, how the fuck to act, period. And I hung out with people that I felt understood me. And, you know, even though we was wannabe gang members when we was kids, I felt like I belonged to something. And I felt like I was around people who understood me. And, you know, so what comes with that, you know, hanging out with that type of crew, you know, what comes with hanging out with that type of, you know what I'm saying, group, you know, it is what it is, right? And so that's what I was doing as a youngster, and it just fucked my life up, you guys. It really did. And I just feel now today, you know, I'm fucking 43 fucking years old, you know, and I'm still suffering from my past. So I just feel that speaking on it with you guys and maybe sharing it with you guys, sharing my story with y'all, it'll help somebody, you know, that went through shit in their life, and it'll help them, um, you know, not make the same fucking mistakes that I did, you know what I mean? I mean, shit, people got hurt, people died, you know what I mean? And it just, that's the type of shit that I can't never really, you know, come back from, you know what I'm saying? And I say that it's real, you know what I mean? Because um, I remember when I was in Solano, my counselor, this lady counselor, she told me some real ass shit. I was sitting in her office and she was like, you know what, Ron? I believe that you really, you know what I'm saying, had a different responsibility in the crime that you're convicted of. Because, you know, she gets all my paperwork, she reads over everything, you know what I'm saying? And she was just like, you know, but unfortunately, you're always going to be a murderer according to this black and white paper right here, this file that is on you. So even when you get out of here, even though you served your time, and even though, you, she just basically saying like it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. When you get out, that file, that paperwork that's going with you says you're a murderer, you know? And like I said, this shit happened, you know, over 20 years ago, you know what I mean? And I still think about it. I still live with it, you know? I still being punished for it, you know? I'm still being judged for it, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. I'm good with that, you know what I mean? Cuz I take full responsibility for, you know, everything that I've done in my life and what I've been through, you know what I'm saying? So I'm good with that. But I'm just here to try and help now. That's what my story is all about. Is I just want to help people. And I hope that at the end of all of this, when I'm done sharing everything with y'all, um, I hope that it saves lives. That's all I care about, you know. And I'm out. Stay the fuck out of trouble.